Tensions rose on the Columbia University campus as the protests there persisted. Chants, boos, and more could be heard on campus, all aimed at House Speaker Mike Johnson, who visited the grounds today. He met with the university's president and asked her to address the protests. Johnson was there meeting with more than 50 Jewish students, telling the students that he supports and stands with them, and listening to the students' concerns about anti-Semitism, holding a press conference of his own before hundreds of chanting students. I got a chance to meet with the speaker moments later and asked him about the state of the protests nationwide and his own speakership now potentially in peril. Why was it important for you to come here today?
It's very important. We brought colleagues from the New York delegation, Malliotakis and D'Esposito and Lawler. We had the chair of our Education and Workforce Committee in the House, Chairwoman Virginia Fox. What we wanted to do is make an important statement on behalf of the Congress here. We're not going to tolerate this kind of activity. We met with Jewish students before we came to the campus. They're meeting off-site right now because they're terribly intimidated. They're in fear for their lives. They're having to stay home from class. They're having to, as they're trying to prepare for finals, as stressful as that is, they're not able to concentrate on that because they're worried about their physical safety. This is not who we are as Americans, and we want these students to understand that. We want this administration to take control of this campus because it's getting out of hand.
You said you spoke with Jewish students. I'm wondering if you also spoke with pro-Palestinian students, and that really is kind of a nuanced question because we have spoken to people on this campus who are Jewish, but saying that to be anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli policy are really two separate things.
Well, that's probably true. But what we've seen here is threats and intimidation, shouting epithets, going after people because of who they are. We don't stand for that in this country, and that's not the free expression of ideas. That is something very different. When you're running people off of the campus and preventing them from going to class because of their ethnicity or because of their religious belief, that is a violation of American principles, and it's dangerous to our institutions. We have these kinds of things popping up now on campuses around the country. And leaders of all parties and all persuasions need to stand up and speak against it. And we're also going to take action in the Congress to do everything we can to stop it.
And as you said, this is not limited to Columbia. We're seeing this across the country. More than 33,000 Palestinians have died at this point, according to the UN. There are tens of thousands of kids who are starving in Gaza every day. For those protesters who say that's what we're protesting, what's your message to them?
Well, that's not how Hamas sees it. Hamas issued an endorsement statement within the last 2 hours of these protests and these students, saying that this is the leaders, the next leaders of our country. We should hope not. Hamas is a terrorist organization. The atrocities that were committed on October 7th are unspeakable. They cooked infants in ovens. They raped and murdered women and children. And these students out here are applauding that. They're waving Palestinian flags and Hamas flags.
Well, but for people who are just saying, we simply don't like the way the Palestinians are being treated and killed.
That's a different conversation. Have that conversation. Have a debate. We believe in the free expression of ideas and the free marketplace of ideas. That is not what is happening here. They've encamped on the campus. They're threatening people with their lives, and they're preventing them from exercising their freedom. That's the limit, that's the line, and that's what can't be tolerated by these administrators. If they can't get control of this, we will take the funding away from these universities. The Congress has a responsibility to do that, the power of the purse, and we will use it, and we will hold these administrators accountable. We've had hearings already in our committees of jurisdiction, and we'll have more of those, and I think the American people demand that kind of action, and we're going to deliver on it.
There are more than 24 senators that as you know at this point, who have said that they feel it's time for the federal government to intervene. Do you think that that's a good use of federal resources?
Listen, desperate times call for desperate measures. If they don't get control of this very quickly, this president, this university issued a demand last night that was not heeded. It was ignored. And now they want to give more grace and allow the students time to, govern and control themselves. This needs to be stamped out. And if they can't get control of it on the university campus, there is an appropriate time for the National Guard to be involved. We have to maintain order. It's important in our society, and that's not what's happening here.
Governor Hochul just said today that she feels that your presence is politicizing this event. Is there any part of you that is concerned that your being here might exacerbate an already volatile situation?
This situation couldn't be more volatile than it is. Talk to these Jewish students who are cowering in fear because they're worried about their physical safety. As leaders in this country and leaders of the Congress, we have a responsibility to the people, and that's all the people of this nation. There's, by some estimates, almost 200 campuses that have some version of this going on right now. It's incumbent upon us as members of Congress and duly elected representatives of the people to speak for the people and to say that law and order should be respected and regarded. And the intention is to bring attention to this. And if we achieve that today, that was the objective.
Pivoting for a moment, as you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene has said that your speakership is over. She's tweeted that you're a traitor. Your response to her and like-minded Republicans?
I don't respond to her directly. I just think this is a distraction. We've got the greatest collection of challenges facing our country right now, arguably, than in the modern era, maybe comparable to the times of World War II, maybe the Civil War. We have to work together, unite on the answers to all those challenges and solve them. And so I don't get distracted by that, and I hope my colleagues won't either.
Would you be willing, if your speakership is in jeopardy, to get Democratic support? Have you spoken at all with any Democrats potentially to that avail?
I've had lots of members in the House who have offered their assistance. I've not requested it of anyone. I believe that you do the right thing and you let the chips fall where they may, and I think the right thing will be done in the end.
Not too far away from here, Donald Trump has been spending a considerable amount of time in criminal court where the jury is hearing allegations that he paid hush money to an adult entertainer, to a Playboy bunny. The jury will obviously decide the criminality of that. But my question to you is, as a devout Christian, how do you sit with that?
Let me tell you, what's happening to Donald Trump is an atrocity. It is lawfare. They are using the legal system against him because of who he is. That is not what our system of justice is founded upon. It's supposed to be equal justice under law, regardless of person, and that's not what's happening here. They've imposed a gag order on him. They are using courts all around the country for political vendettas against him because he's running for president again. If he wasn't, that would not be happening. How can he get a fair jury in New York City? I mean, this is an atrocity. I think he'll have a fantastic appeal however this comes out, but I certainly hope and pray that they don't convict him on some bogus charge. That's what this is in my view.
And we should note that ABC News has not independently corroborated what the speaker alleged regarding Hamas's actions against Jewish babies. We did, however, follow up with the speaker's office regarding today's event and confirm that the speaker did not meet with any pro-Palestinian students and has no plans to meet with them in the near future.